The eulogy of Grace Jones Wyndham. Grace was born in the rustic community of Bilweary in the parish of Westmoreland to Vivian Nash and Benjamin Jones on February 7, 1937. Grace was the third of 13 children. Her early education was at the Bilweary All-Age School. Grace has a strong belief in volunteerism and an unquenchable appetite for helping the underserved communities. As a result of this, she enrolled in the St. John's Ambulance Brigade in Westmoreland as a volunteer and studied home economics at what is now known as the Godfrey Stewart High School. Grace did not believe in mediocrity, and she migrated to Kingston in search of a better life, where she met the love of her life, Thomas Wyndham. The union produced a son. My mother valued the importance of education, so in the 70s she graduated from the Jamaica School of Fashion at the top of her class as a fashion designer. In 1979, she opened her own business along Old Hope Road, but owing to the political violence at the time, she had to close shop. In early 1993, she migrated to Canada in search of opportunities. Grace did not just speak about continuous education, she led by example and was quick to embrace new technology. In November 1994, she was awarded a certificate by the Metropolitan Separate School Board in Computer Awareness and Word Perfect in 1995. In April 1996, she graduated from Paramed Academy as a healthcare aide, where she studied clinical practice and theory. In September 2000, she successfully completed the final examination at the National Association of Career Colleges. In February 2000, she was awarded a diploma by Healthcare Vocational Centers. Grace was patriotic and wanted to give back something to Jamaica. Her dream was to return home after retirement and establish a school to voluntarily teach young ladies dressmaking. Grace expressed the opinion that the world was unkind, especially to the female sex. So she believed she had an obligation to equip them with a skill. To achieve this objective, she graduated with a diploma in sewing and dressmaking from Stratford Career Institute in 2002. The dream of opening a dressmaking school was never realized owing to failing health. Grace loved the Lord and would often quote the prophet Isaiah. And she believed that the Lord gave her the gift of clairvoyance. My mother would go to bed and woke up the next morning and tell you of something that will happen the following day. 60% of the time, she's accurate. But if you speak to her, she will tell you that she's 100% accurate. A typical example was September 1992. She came to my room and said, "When work is over this afternoon, come home. In my sleep last night, you were killed by a bus." I disobeyed her orders and spent over 3 months in the university hospital, having to undergo 4 surgeries for my injuries. Years later, she made arrangements for me to come to Canada for a final surgery. Grace was a philosopher in her own way and believed that everyone should participate in the political process. My political awareness was developed by going to political meetings with her as a child. My mother had a peculiar way of getting her message across in a manner that even the dull and ignorant can comprehend. While I was attending basic school, a boy in the community was sent to school, would deviate with friends to the river. He got into difficulties and drowned. That afternoon, she looked me in the eye and with a stern voice said, "Water alone knows the secret of drowning." I got the message. Grace was never afraid to stand alone on matters of principle. In the 60s, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. Michael Ramsey, came to Jamaica on a state visit. My mother was adamant that the government of Jamaica should not facilitate the Archbishop. I learned later in life that the Archbishop expressed views which my mother considered to be an affront to biblical teaching. She was never afraid to confront you if she believed you were a bully. Growing up as a child, I had more aunts and uncles than my peers, but did not know what it means to be flogged by any of them. My mother's rule was, she alone should do the beating. As I grew older, I have come to appreciate her stand. In the home, the ground rule was speak the truth. So I learned quickly how to avoid flogging by simply telling the truth regardless of the circumstances. My mother was loving, patient, kind, and fiercely loyal to the family. She will always be your friend as long as you do not interfere with any member of the family. She will move mountains to come at you. Like Barnabas, my mother was an encourager. In Canada, I met a lady from Grenada who told me she was sorry she had not met my mother 3 years earlier because she would have made better choices in life. Grace instilled in me that education was the greatest equalizer, and that education was something you share with the less fortunate and should not be used as a big stick to beat down the dull and ignorant. As a child, I considered her a hard taskmaster, and a Sunday afternoon when I had to demonstrate my reading skills and to present my books for review. Today, I am indeed grateful to her for the interest she displayed in my formative years. In those formative years, she took time out to discuss current affairs with me, and there was no subject that was off limit. It was she who taught me about Patrice Lumumba and Joseph Kasavubu in the Congo. Because of this, I was ahead of my classmate when I reached high school. My mother never forget names, and so on each occasion I visit her in Canada, she always wanted to know how my brother-in-law Roshi was doing. An innocent bystander would be led to believe that Roshi was her son. On her return to Jamaica, she was concerned about her sister, Mrs. Chisholm. I have now come to realize how much she loved and cherished her grandchildren, especially her granddaughter Sharifa. If I visit her 4 times for the day, she would ask about Sharifa. Grace was a virtuous woman, an excellent mother, a confidant, a friend, an aunt, a grandmother, a great-grandmother who lived a fruitful and rewarding life. I thank Almighty God that she was my mother. She often said, "My son must bury me," but although I would prefer to have her in the land of the living, God have other plans for her. My mother loved the Lord, but she was not one of those holier-than-thou persons. She had a great sense of humor and a large music collection. If she is coming from church and here at Dennis Brown, you bet she's going to dance. Even while she was ill, Grace could be the life of a party. Whenever I took her to the hospital for her clinical appointment, she would have the nurses and patients in stitches. Wednesday, April 14, 2021, was one of her regular appointments, where she was admitted to hospital and died April 26, 2021 at 5:15 p.m. Leaving 5 sisters, 3 brothers, nieces, nephews, 1 son, 2 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren, and a daughter-in-law. May God, the source of hope, fill you with all joy and peace by means of your faith in Him, so that your hope will continue to grow by the power of the Holy Spirit. Rest well, my friend, in the arms of the Lord. I would like to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to persons who offered support to her in Canada. I made special mention of her grandchildren, Sharifa and Sadiki, Audrey Bryan, her friend Caroline from Colonial Road, my brother Michael and Elizabeth. In Jamaica, I say a special thanks to my wife Blondell, who went above and beyond to ensure that all her needs were met. I am eternally grateful to you, Blondell, for your dedication. My brother-in-law, Prince and C. Wright Scott, her caregivers, Angela Toller and Donna Ham. To the members and staff of RTA Nursing Home, Mr. Robert Daly, Nurse Thomas, Nurse Henry, Nurse Walker, who accompanied her to the hospital. On behalf of the Wyndham family, I use this opportunity to say thank you to friends and well-wishers for the outpouring of support during our time of bereavement. Thank you for listening. This is a tribute from her grandson Sadiki. And he said, "Ma, I have always admired how much you love your family, how proud you were of us, and especially my father. That will always stick with me and inspire me to show the same kind of love to my family. I will miss you, Ma, and there is not a day that goes by that I won't be thinking about you. I wish that I could have gotten the chance to say one last goodbye. But I am sure you are looking down from heaven with an understanding. I will make sure to tell my kids all the wonderful and funny jokes you had and the memories we share. I wish you could have met the last two great-grandchildren to look upon their hands and give them the Ma blessings. But I know you are looking down on us from heaven, and you finally at peace. Heaven gave again an angel, and I know it's not goodbye forever, because I will see you soon one day. From your grandson Sadiki, your great-grandchildren Ethan, Elia, Inea, and Evan. That's it.
Auntie Grace, you have and will always be embedded in my heart. Having the opportunity to rekindle my love and connection with you at Patsy's wedding and in your home in Canada have surely kept memories of you alive. It was then that I re-experienced your jovial personality. During these times, and with weekly phone calls, I realized my favorite qualities about you was your directiveness in telling me as it is while never holding back a punch. Auntie always has the best intentions for everyone around her, and those she came in contact with were positively impacted. Auntie Grace was, even to the very end, was still very proud of her greatest achievement, which is her only son, Carl. Auntie was a great representation of who a mother, a sister, and an aunt should be. Sleep in peace, Auntie. Love, Millie. Good morning to you all. Thank you.
Tribute from her granddaughter Sharifa. And it read thus: on April 26th in the evening, my grandmother left this life. She celebrated her 84th birthday on the 17th of February. She was affectionately named Ma by me, Sharifa, and the name stuck. Ma is a term of the endearment that was also used by my brother Sadiki, who followed me, and adopted by my mom Audrey, who for many years called my grandmother Miss Jones. But alas, when your first and only granddaughter gives you a name, the rest, as they say, is history. I am among the fortunate few grandchildren who can say they had a grandparent for 42 and a half years of their life. This is a blessing. Ma was a doer. She not only speak of kindness, but epitomize it. Her kindness was not only for my father and us as grandchildren, but to her extended family and friends. Whenever I spoke with her over the years when she lived in Canada, I cannot recall a conversation when she was not sending a card or writing a letter to a family member with a nice gift tucked in it, inside. Family was very important to her. And to me, my brother Sadiki, and Mom Audrey, her kindness was insurmountable. There is not anything she would not do to help if she were able to. As her memory began to fail and she moved back to Jamaica, our conversation became less frequent. During my last trip to Jamaica in June 2018, I visited her. That was a difficult visit. Ma looked the same. She talked the same. Her infectious laughter was the same. She was telling a story like she always does. But the recognition was not there. Ma did not recognize me. She did not know who I was. That visit is the last I would see and speak to her. There will only ever be one Grace Wyndham. She was affectionately nicknamed the Amazing Grace by her family doctor in Canada. And I must agree that she was amazing. Rest in peace, Ma, we love you. Sharifa, Sadiki, Audrey, Ethan, Ilya, Inia, and Evan, great-grandchildren. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. To my sister Grace, memories of you will be always with me forever. I recall our childhood when you acted like you were the older one. Even in my sadness, it brings a smile to my face. I also recall her kindness towards her family and others. Grace had migrated to Canada in 1993 and lived there for many years. During that time, she returned home to help bury our mother, Vivian Nash Hutchinson, in the year 1997. She also would go home on vacation to be with her son, family, and friends. She also traveled to the United States to her niece Patsy, wedding in New Jersey, 1913-2003. She also returned to the United States to attend her cousin Robert Daly funeral in New York. She also took time to attend my older daughter Daly graduation in Evanston, Illinois. She returned to Evanston, Illinois to support me at the passing of my husband, Wilfred Chisholm, 9/13/2006. She also returned home to attend her cousin Ethel funeral in Sablama, Westmoreland, who she loves dearly. She will be always miss in my heart. She lived She returned to Jamaica 2014 after many years of service in Canada. She lived a good and long life among family, friends, and others. We love you. We'll miss you. You will be missed in my heart forever. I would like to say my last goodbye by doing a Bible verse. Brothers, sisters, we do not want you to be uniform about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind, who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him.
When